and a great star fell from heaven, burning as a lamp, and its name was Wormwood.
The year isn't clear, the fear is timeless. A fiery object cuts across the night sky, and humanity panics. Again. From Civil War soldiers to TikTok prophets, the script hasn't changed. The only difference is the Wi-Fi speed. Summer, 1861. America tears itself apart. Then, a stranger appears in the sky. The Great Comet of 1861 glows above Civil War camps like a flaming sword. Soldiers stare upward. Preachers quote Revelation. A young private, Charles Johnson, writes that the comet seems disgusted with the Earth, leaving with its tail between its legs. Days later, the Battle of Bull Run erupts. To many, it's a sign. The heavens have declared war.
Report from the February 18, 1910, special to Vincennes commercial in Berkeley, California. If the astronomers are right in their estimates of the amount of cyanogen gas in the tail of Halley's Comet, and if that body's vapor do envelope the Earth, we may have a chance to feel the sensations of the bug and insects which are killed by the use of this deadly gas as an exterminator. Such is the cheerful opinion expressed Thursday by Professor Edwin Booth of the Department of Chemistry at the University of California, and a leading expert on spectrum analysis.
1910. Humanity has electric lights and newspapers, and the same old dread. Halley's Comet returns. Scientists detect traces of cyanogen gas in its tail. Headlines scream, "Comet gas may kill us all." Panic goes global. Pharmacists sell anti-comet pills. Professors warn of instant asphyxiation. In Paris, 2 men climb rooftops for a better view and fall to their deaths. The world holds its breath as the Earth passes through the comet's tail. Nothing happens, except a global hangover and a lesson no one learns. Fear travels faster than light.
My task is to get you from human to the kingdom of heaven, if you follow me. Now you can't, it's not going to do you any good. You can't even be a disciple of mine if you don't leave everything behind and come and follow me.
1973. Humanity has walked on the moon, yet still looks up in dread. Astronomers promise a spectacle. Comet Kohoutek, the comet of the century. Evangelists prepare for Judgment Day. NASA prepares for ratings. The comet fizzles. Apocalypse postponed. But the formula is perfected. Mix a little science, a little scripture, and a lot of marketing. By the time Halley returned in the 1980s, souvenir t-shirts outsold telescopes. Then came 1997. Hale-Bopp blazes across the sky, and tragedy follows. The Heaven's Gate group sees a spacecraft hiding in its tail. 39 people die, convinced they're boarding it. The pulpit has become the modem, but the longing for salvation hasn't changed. Not every threat is imaginary. In northern Arizona lies Meteor Crater, a mile-wide wound left by a nickel-iron meteor 50,000 years ago. The blast equaled 150 atomic bombs. In 2013, a smaller asteroid fragment exploded above Chelyabinsk, Russia. The flash outshone the sun. The shockwave shattered thousands of windows. For 2 minutes, no one knew if it was war or the end of the world. The moment was captured by dashcams. The universe live-streamed. And there's something stranger. Visitors from outside the solar system. Oumuamua, long, thin, fast. Gone before we knew what it was. Borisov, an icy drifter from another star. And now, 3I, Atlas. Discovered in 2025. Enormous and fast, slipping toward the inner system. Astronomers see a comet. Harvard's Avi Loeb sees a possibility. Alien technology. He notes 8 odd traits. Its speed, its nickel-rich gases, its near-perfect approach toward Mars, and one eerie coincidence. 3I Atlas is coming from almost the same region of sky where, in 1977, an Ohio radio telescope heard a 72-second burst on the hydrogen frequency, the kind of signal SETI had dreamed of. The astonished astronomer circled the data printout and wrote one word: wow. The signal never repeated. Nearly 50 years later, another visitor approaches from that same direction. Maybe the universe just has a flair for suspense. Loeb calls it an interstellar blind date. We'll meet our mysterious guest near Christmas, and as usual, half the world will gaze up in awe, and the other half will check the expiration date on their comet pills.
Waiting behind it is Apophis, named for the Egyptian serpent of chaos. In 2029, it will skim just 20,000 miles above Earth, close enough to outshine most stars. No impact threat, but every reason for live stream panic. For centuries, we've feared the heavens, worshipped them, and sold miracle pills because of them. Yet every comet, every asteroid, every flash reminds us we are fragile, curious, and endlessly creative. Maybe the universe isn't sending signs at all. Maybe it's holding up a mirror. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold.
The truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
Hi.
Hey there.
Hey. Just love that.
How is everybody?
Okay. Well, I think it's interesting that all those comments, like the one in the Civil War, the one that came maybe like 4 years before World War I broke out, then the one that happened in the 80s, which really, like, that's the same comet, Halley's Comet, but that was a dissolution of the USSR right around that period of time. And then what was the Hale-Bopp one was a few years before 9/11 and before we started that 20-year war. So it's kind of interesting that they sort of proceed, or sort of seemed like the big ones that we see. I'm sure there's always comets coming through here, but that freak people out seem to kind of, that's why they get a reputation for being kind of scary, I think.
Exactly. And, you know, in the 1861, the Great Comet of 1861, what was interesting, on our Saturdays, we do something called the Paranormal Highway, and we go through state after state, and I pull all these strange newspaper articles. And I think it was Idaho. I don't remember what state it was, but this whole big group of men and boys went out camping for like a teach the kids how to hunt kind of thing. And it wasn't quite the comet yet, but they saw like this huge light that went like over the atmosphere. And then they saw these white beings come out of it. And
Wow.
there were probably like 40 people. I don't know if you were on that show, Bove, if you remember that. And, you know, and some of them were very well respected townsmen. And they all go running back and they had meetings about it. And so anyway, you know, nobody even talks about this. And, you know, that's why that show's kind of interesting, because I find all this weird stuff from whenever. And anyway, one of the universities up there decided, well, we're going to revisit this. So they found everybody that was still alive from that were like in their 70s, 80s, 90s. And they recounted the exact same thing. Their stories never changed. Nothing. And in retrospect, they felt like that was like the precursor to the Great Comet, and that it was going to bring about a civil war. It was very interesting how they knew all of this. And, you know, and there does seem to be something, some kind of strife, something, you know, that these comets seem to either inspire or they correspond with it or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
harbingers.
very interesting.
So when was
And
that particular sighting that you're talking about? And where was that one?
I think it was Idaho. I
Idaho.
think. Bove, do you remember that one or not?
I do not remember that
You
one.
might not have been there. It may have just been Al and me. But
Yeah.
I'll have to find that and post it somewhere because it was fascinating. And the thing is, you never hear about it on like all these paranormal shows or whatever, but we
Right.
find some really odd things that are worthy of a paranormal show.
Yeah,
And,
right.
the thing to me is that this stuff, I don't know if more people are like feeling psychic or what, or crazy, either way. It
Or
could
both.
be, it could be
Yeah.
both the same.
Crazy.
If that kind of goes along with this type of thing. The three eye atlas worries me to an extent because now I had printed out just different theories that all these people seem to have, but there's so much of it. And then with AI and everything else, there's a proliferation of NASA says this and NASA says that
Yeah,
on
right.
the
And you don't know
internet.
what's true.
And you
Yeah.
don't know what's real. It could take you like all day to try to go through. So at this point, I just go to NASA or the European space stuff because
Right.
there's just so much of it. But it makes me wonder, that guy with the Heaven's Gate, Marshall
Mm-hmm.
Applewhite
Marshall
or whatever.
Apple.
Yeah.
Doe.
Yeah,
Actually,
right.
T and Doe were their names.
Yeah,
So
right.
what
Oh,
everybody
yes.
Wackadoodle.
But seeing him on that thing, would give up all your stuff and follow me and whatever.
Right.
And as this comet comes in and the madness that is taking place right now, with food insecurity,
Mm-hmm.
healthcare, I shared with you guys what my healthcare, my health insurance would be. And
Yeah.
that was just the low level of gold. If I went to the high of gold, it came to like $3,780 a month just for
That's
me.
insane. Wow.
And
Can
so
I just
Yeah.
intercede for just a second? I'm going to play devil's advocate, and I do tend to be. I know this is going to be a shock. I do tend to be a little on the negative side, a little bit of a cynic and skeptic. Although I can believe anything. I have to say that. I think I would recommend caution because yes, every time you see a comet in the sky, it corresponds with some hideous event on Earth. What about all the other hideous events that are constantly ongoing that don't have harbingers in the sky? And
No, I
not
think
trying
especially
to
no.
harsh your buzz.
I agree. But I think that the difference is that they seem to be correlated with turning points, like World War I led to World War II. The breakdown of the Soviet Union is that created all kinds of, and we're still dealing with that mess. Or like the one that happened before 9/11 and the 20-year war. There are sort of turning points in history that affect a lot of people, not just like what's going on right now with I don't know if you saw the news happening in Jamaica, but it's unbelievable, the destruction there. Or Katrina or other things like that. There's always stuff going on, but it seems to correspond almost specifically, it seems like, with wars, like
Is
really
it-
bad wars. Lots of
I don't want people 300 years from now looking back at us and going, "Look at those superstitious fools." I want to be cautious. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm not.
Well, I think that all things are connected. If you think that there is if you believe that there is, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, if you think that all things are connected, then everything is kind of a sign, right? Like today in the news, for example, which I thought was really strange. There were two big stories that came out about monkeys. I don't know if you saw that.
The ones that got loose?
The ones that got loose, and then there was another monkey that got loose in a Spirit Halloween store. It was really weird.
Oh, really?
Two major news stories about monkeys.
I didn't
"That's
see those.
weird."
I've been at work all day. What were the stories about? They're breaking
Well, there was
out,
there was I think like 20 monkeys or 21 monkeys. 21 monkeys. Like it's almost like the start of that movie, like
21 monkeys or whatever.
28 monkeys that started this apocalyptic sort of virus. They were in transport from somewhere to, I think, Tulane University to become like used as laboratory monkeys. And they got in a car, they got in an accident, and the monkeys got loose and started, just went all over the place, and they haven't found all of them.
No,
And
they found them all. They killed them all.
They killed them.
One survived.
Yeah,
And at that point, I had to quit reading.
yeah, they were in the beginning. They thought that they might be carrying different diseases, but Tulane said they weren't. But we don't really know. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody knows for sure why they killed them. It seems like maybe because they did have some diseases. You know what I'm saying? And maybe Tulane doesn't want to get in trouble or have like.
Well, even if a monkey weren't intentionally infected, a monkey just randomly from
could
the
have weird
wild
diseases.
biting
Sure.
a human, not good. Yeah.
No, it's not good.
Yeah.
So that was weird. And so in symbolically, monkeys represent chaos. They represent chaos. If you
they do?
Yes, they do. They represent chaos.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And you'll notice, like I've noticed that certain themes of animals become sort of prevalent in the zeitgeist. Like in the 70s, the owls, and that was like a really bad sort of downturn. Everybody loved the owls. Everyone had owls. Right before Trump became president, foxes became a big thing. What does the fox say? And there's all these, and no matter what store you go to, you'd see all these like fox things, little fox animals, fox stationery. Foxes represent, cunning and manipulation,
underhandedness,
and what is the word I'm looking for? That's specific. Slyness, but it'll come to me anyway. Yeah, trickster. It's the trickster, right? He's a trickster. And then who came to power, and peacocks too were also really popular at the same time. Peacocks, okay, we can say that certainly also applies. And now the monkeys, then right as COVID started happening, there was that weird Tiger King thing that was really popular. Do you remember Tiger King and all that?
I couldn't watch it.
Tiger stuff.
Yeah.
So now there's like this weird monkey thing, and think about what's going on in our country. It is like chaos. So you can look around and just see. That's why the ancients would pay attention to that kind of stuff, because all things are connected. And what comes into your sort of, they would augury comes from the study of birds and their migration, so that it sort of foretells different things and patterns coming. Because if you believe that all things are interconnected, then your witnessing of certain things have meaning besides they're not random, right? So comets fall into that.
What concerns me, kind of along the same lines of what you were saying, Helen, and what you're saying, Denise, is that how many people are going to take advantage of this energy in the name of 3i Atlas or whatever, and then create weird stuff? That's what concerns me. Are we going to have another Heaven's Gate or some kind of Christian nationalist comet cult? That is what worries me, especially because it's become such a huge thing on the internet with everybody's speculations. It's just ripe for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen people send me stuff, and it's just all bullshit. But there is a guy that I watch who is like a space enthusiast. He's he calls himself the Angry Astronaut. He's actually based on science. And he's pretty, he's relatively centered. He kind of takes Avi Loeb stuff. I saw a thing he did yesterday, but watched it today. And he was saying that there's a doctor, I can't remember her name, who did a research study and did a bunch of, and her and her team found a correspondence. They went back to the 1940s and like late 40s, early 50s, when they were doing atomic bomb testing. Because there's always been the speculation that there was some kind of correlation between all of the UFO sightings that started happening right around the time that we started blowing, up stuff with atomic bombs, and this influx of UFO stuff. And so you would think, well, where do they come from? If they're from somewhere else, we would have seen them in space. Well, she actually found all of these anomalies on like back in the like the pictures taken where there were like like suddenly several lights, and then they disappeared at a certain, like as they were coming into the earth. I don't know the science. I didn't read the paper, but he was explaining it, that it correlated within a day before or a day after of the atomic bomb blast, and then all the sightings of UFOs. So, I don't know why I got off on that, but I think, I don't know that 3i Atlas is necessarily alien. It's just weird. It could either way, whether it's some kind of tech or not. It's a very strange object. And I think maybe representationally, if you think about it symbolically, the most important, the only way we really can think about it, because we don't really know what it is there's something coming that we really don't understand. And maybe it's something that's so far out of the norm that is precluding or kind of presaging some kind of period where things are going to be very different. Things, I think about, we're on the precipice of AI, a lot of paradigm shifts, climate change. So I think if you look at it symbolically, it's kind of an interesting thing as, look, there's something completely we've never seen anything like this. This is completely strange. Well, aren't we going through a period where there's so much technology and strangeness and things we can't even imagine coming down the pike? Even the people that are inventing this stuff don't know exactly what it's going to do,
Exactly.
where it's going to go. So I think that's interesting as sort of a symbolic thing.
Well, there's all those Marian apparitions that coincide with the outbreaks of world wars.
Yes.
And there was a Marian apparition in New Mexico
when?
at around the time of Roswell.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how public it was, but there's this mystic, maybe, I don't know what you'd call her, and she's someplace, it's been a long time since I read this, so forgive me, I'm really light on facts, but the general gist, she's someplace in Europe, and she was seen bilocating. She was seen in Europe and seen in New Mexico at the same time,
right?
And like people who knew her and communicated, well, I just saw you, what are you doing, a continent away. And she was some kind of nun or holy mystic person associated with Catholicism. That's all I remember. But Medjugorje, Fatima, Lourdes, there are all these different places.
Yes.
And I what, it just occurred to me, Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Yeah.
Around the time of the destruction of the Aboriginal peoples of Mexico, South America, Central America, South America. Interesting.
Yeah. I think that, I think it's also interesting that I think a lot about, like you're saying, the visitations of Mary, but also the fact that in the 80s, there were all these statues that started crying of Mary. Do you remember that?
I'm in the National Enquirer.
Yeah. And it was, I saw pictures. I saw it on the news actually too, because people were like, there were some of them that were bleeding, like they were showing like bloody looking tears, others that were, and they did some testing on it. And it was very strange. But I think maybe there's a metaphor there that we don't fully understand because we haven't, maybe it was sort of a point of no return, this climate change stuff.
Oh, the grief of Gaia, and
yeah, right. Because it's
and a lot of times they were statues of Mary.
There's
connections.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Well, I wrote down some of the theories. Well, actually, I typed it because I can never read my writing afterwards. So you get that too. When you work with somebody for a long time, it's like, well, I can't read my writing. Here, you read it, and then I read their writing.
That's funny.
Okay, so let's see. How many theories did I find? 15 of them. And that was about all I could take because it's like all of this conflicting stuff. It's like you don't know what
about
to believe.
3i Atlas, you mean? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
So some of these are conspiracies. Some of them maybe not. I don't know. I'll just throw them out there and tell me what you think. Okay, so the first one, and this kind of comes from Avi Loeb. It could be an alien spacecraft or probe of some kind. Mm-hmm. And the probe, to me, it's kind of like, it kind of makes sense because you would save on energy, just stick something on there that could you wouldn't need energy to travel that far and just see wherever it heads out, kind of
Yeah,
like
right. We've
Voyager.
done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done that. Yeah.
So why not put it on a big
Rock.
comet or something
Yeah,
and
right.
and just see where it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
What do you think about that theory, Bove?
I think that anything is possible. I love the little bits that we actually know. And like we're sitting here and we're discussing, well, it could be this, could be this, could be this. But, and it all, like I didn't have a clue last week or the week we did the reincarnation thing. My mind is very open and it's going, yes, and I can see this and I can see this. So I'm feeling a little more on target today.
That's good.
That's
You
why I
never
called
know.
on you. That's my teacher called on you.
Oh, shit.
I think that's probably the most likely thing. If it is something having any kind of alien thing, it's probably not a spaceship. I doubt that.
Wasn't there some kind of now I subscribe to him on Medium, and he was talking about some kind of, is it Europe that has like some kind of international, like where they're all watching it because it changed courses or something.
Yes.
And I didn't have time to really read it to find out what that is, but
yeah, I'm not sure about that. See, that's the thing about what's happening right now, because people are like, somebody sent me a video thing, and they sent me this video, and I'm listening to it, and I'm realizing they're getting some of the facts wrong, because I know it well enough to know the facts about it, and I'm like, no. And then it starts getting more and more crazy, like, oh, there's 7 other objects. No, there isn't actually. And I mean, it's already weird enough. You don't have to invent more weird stuff about it, but I feel like there's a proliferation of people taking advantage of the fact that there's interest in this.
Yes.
And just piling on and going completely apeshit crazy over it. And I don't look, I mean, it might be some kind of really, really, really weird thing that we've just never seen that's natural. Or it could be some kind of probe, but it seems very unlikely that it's like a full-blown spaceship with a bunch of aliens on it. You know what I mean? I really doubt that. It could be a modified piece of like some kind of asteroid that's modified with sensors on it or something, and some kind of propulsion system or something, like what we did, but maybe to mask it a little bit if it goes into areas where there are people or beings smart enough to figure out that that's weird. It could be something like that. I could buy that, but I really don't get the feeling intuitively that it's anything more than something like that. Like, I don't feel like it's a threat of any kind. But I do think the one thing that's good about this, right, about 3i Atlas, is I think it's opening up a dialogue in science and to talk about this possibility that there could be something like this, that an event like this where there is some kind of clear and obvious technological intrusion from something else into our solar system. And what is that going to mean? We do need to think about that, because it's probably happened. It certainly has happened before. But now that we are kind of at a level where we have atomic bombs and we are very warring, how would we deal with something like that? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Will we see it as a threat? Those are questions we really should be thinking about.
Well, and I think we would see it as a threat.
Yeah.
Last Saturday, Bove read for me on our paranormal highway, and and there was like this thing. It was like a big bat dragon thing.
The Van
And so what
Meter
do all
monster.
the people? Yes, and so what do all the people do? They open fire.
Wow.
They all run, and that is how we act. And this shows up story after story after story. There was a Bigfoot wave going around through Iowa. It's like all this stuff that happened in the 70s is so weird. But all these people were seeing. So what did they do? People from all over the state, they got their rifles right around their pickup trucks, And so can you imagine if some extraterrestrial force came that was recognized as extraterrestrial.
Well, that's another reason I think that they would never tell us that, honestly.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that people in government know that people are violent and crazy and can't deal with it. There was an event that happened in, not this year, but the year before, when Biden was president. I think it was 2022, the spring, in Florida, which I've referenced before, which was this weird thing that they, the response, like there were literally cop cars, like miles, people freaking out and going nuts and running down the street and punching each other and going insane. And it was like, there's nothing, it was probably a hologram. It wasn't even probably anything. Well, but I mean, no, I know it's scary, and people are easily scared and spooked, and we're used to being the top predator on the planet and something that's like, we don't know what the hell's going on. I don't think we're ready for that. I mean, I know there are people in the UFO community think we could hear the truth. No, you maybe you could. I don't know, but the vast majority of people could not handle that.
Well, you know what would happen, don't you? ICE would arrest them and deport them. We can't
send them to El Salvador. Put them in a prison camp.
Interact with our fellow human beings living on the soil of our own country.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. There's no
way.
That's right.
We are deeply flawed genetically and spiritually.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's a very ridiculous idea that people would just, I mean, there are people in the Pentagon. We were reading that book, right? I had you guys read this book. There are people in the Pentagon.
I'm going to finish it this weekend, so we can do our review.
Yeah, who literally think that UFOs and alien stuff is demonic and everything. I mean, that is just batshit crazy. That's kind of like, that's sort of like, you can't release your paradigm. You have to, everything is through this cuckoo lens. You see everything through that. You're not able to actually be logical or rational about what you're actually observing.
Dichotomy, heaven or hell.
Right, there's nothing else. We're all alone in the universe. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that always gets me, is if God is the creator of the universe, right? Mm-hmm. You know, I've always had like two questions for people. Number one, then why don't you read the instruction manual? If this created the universe, read your Bible. If you say that comes from God, you know, read it.
Right.
You know, I mean, wouldn't you want to know what the creator of but then the second thing, why, if something is so vast, it could create all these things, why just stick with humans and stupid rules and regulations? You know, it just makes no sense. I mean, it limits God.
No, it's
which
ridiculous.
I don't think it's a being, it's a presence,
it's an
of
energy system
or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the other thing is, if you're going to read the Bible, if you're going to be a Christian or Jewish, the Torah, you know, the Jewish, the Jewish people make people memorize like parts of the Torah and read it in order to become, you know, fully members of adults. But in Christianity, you know, that was put together by the Romans 300 years after Jesus died, the New Testament. Right. And you know, most people don't really read it. They just listen to whatever their pastor tells them, you know, is, you know, whatever bent they have. And as it's, you know, gone along in time, people have forgotten that there's apocryphal texts, the actual people that wrote the gospels that were part of like the, you know, the actual literal apostles who were around Jesus, their stuff was thrown aside by the Romans. That wasn't part of it. So it's what the Romans want you to believe and how they wanted to control their population. It's really a political document, and not that the stuff that Jesus says is bad or wrong. I mean, the stuff that's little bits
different topic,
is really great. But they really, you know, they really kind of razored it in there, like getting what they wanted, how they wanted to put it across. And if you don't know that, and you just believe that this is descended from some kind of, I don't know, like God came down and with a pen and started writing it. That is not the case. Humans wrote it hundreds of years
You said something really interesting that triggered a kind of a poetic image in my mind. So you said the Jews memorized the Torah to become an adult in the religion.
Yeah.
So wisdom, knowledge, learning of the book, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Christians, well, Catholics anyway, in order to become a full adult, you get confirmed. You get hit in the face by the bishop. I think that says everything you need to know.
I didn't get hit in the face.
You get hit in the
I
face?
didn't get hit.
I
in the
You
didn't
go
face.
get
up
that.
to the, well, I'm older than you are. You go up to the altar. Maybe things changed, but you, and
Yeah,
this
they
is not
changed.
just me. This is, we knew this was going to happen. It was the
Why
tradition.
would you get hit in the face?
Well, I'll tell you why. You go up to the altar, you kneel in front of the bishop, and he says some little incantation about being a soldier of Christ, which to me is contradiction in terms, and smacks you to remind you. Just, I mean, they don't slug you. They smack you, though. I mean, it's, you know.
That's bizarre.
I don't know, it's an initiation? I don't know. I don't fully
That's weird.
understand why they
That
do
didn't
that.
happen to me. We just picked a name.
But look at how in the Jewish religion
it.
it's
What's
associated
that?
with knowledge and learning. In the Catholic faith, it's associated with physical
Obedience.
violence.
Well, and it's obedience, I think, and that's like a very Roman. I mean, I don't know. I think Jesus was one thing, but the church became something else. You know, it's all a sort of a way to control people. You know, I mean, that's what I think.
Well,
But-
in the Old Testament, as gory and boring as a lot of it is, you know, there's some kind of interesting stories in there where there seems to be more of an openness to other things, because you've got Ezekiel with the wheels within wheels kind of thing. You have the whole thing about the children, the sons of men and the sons of God, which would, to me, indicate a different race. You know, that there was some kind of thing. And who was it King David or his father, whatever, where they even talked about, they called on the spirit of one of them for wisdom, and then the ghost comes and he was kind of pissed because it was like, you're disturbing me, I don't want to be here and do this. But there's little stories sprinkled throughout the whole thing. Even like the donkey that was talking, you know, the atheists make fun of that, but I think it was, and it is, but I think a lot of it was just like Aesop's fables or something.
Yeah, no, it
was just a thing
myth.
that you can actually talk to and commune with animals. And so there's things, if you take it from a less critical eye and just sort of read some of this, I think that the Old Testament is actually way more open to a lot of this kind of stuff than a reading of the New Testament that was truly influenced by the Romans.
Right. I mean, the Old Testament is a big mess in a lot of ways, but, you know, it is kind of a collection of all of the sort of myths and sort of oral tradition of the Jews, you know. But you also have to realize the Old Testament does the same thing that the New Testament does, in that, you know, Yahweh came out of the culture, which was a goddess-based culture. And then all of those, you know, all the demons in the Old Testament are old gods and goddesses, you know, like Esotoreth was Esotarete and all this stuff. And, you know, there's two different versions of Genesis. One that's where it's very much like it's a male, female, sort of very much kind of like the Kabbalah. And then there's another one that's thrown in later that's sort of like, oh, well, you know, man was created in the God's image. And it becomes this super patriarchal kind of weird story that gets kind of thrown in. And they don't have anything to do. They're not, they're totally different stories that are sort of
they're so inconsistent. But
Totally
the thing is, they at least kept it in, so it kind of, the discerning mind will at least go, wait, this isn't adding up. You know, this doesn't make any kind of sense. And so from the Jewish way of questioning and learning, it kind of preserves that a little bit, that people will like, okay, this doesn't add up, I'm going to research this more. Although most people don't. Most people
don't. And also the Old Testament has some really psycho stuff in there. Like you should kill someone if they eat like pork or whatever, stone them to death. I mean, it's just really crazy stuff. I mean,
I grew up not able to. We had to follow all those dietary laws and all that.
Did you really?
Stuff
There's a lot of them in there. Yeah,
and
wow.
So, and so it was like our diet was strictly monitored. I mean, all kinds of things. You couldn't wear makeup because that was sinful. It was.
Wow. Do you separate your materials? Like you can't wear certain fabrics with other fabrics? Was that part of your thing?
You know, I'm trying to remember if they did that or not. I was thinking about that. I don't know if they really. I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
You guys have to wear a certain.
Adulterers.
No, they didn't. But I think if they were allowed to, they would have.
Yeah.
They, the ones that did were discommunicated.
Hey, a certain self-professed devout holy Christian who recently died tragically in a public place, I won't say the name, went on national podcasts advocating for the death penalty, public executions, and mandatory that 12-year-old and older forced to watch public executions.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll kill you.
Yeah. Well,
but okay, so the next thing is that some people think that it is a hostile or reconnaissance device. So basically, it's sort of the alien probe idea.
Yeah.
But it's by the wickety types of things out there. And that was actually on space.com. That was kind of going through like what everybody's saying. The other one, they say because the tail sometimes seems to look like it's moving or it's like not normal. So they're saying because of that, there is some sort of mechanism within 3i Atlas that is allowing it to move independently, to have some sort of control over where it's going. So all those sort of fall into the probe alien thing.
Right.
Some fringe theorists, but this was posted in the New York Post, so of course, Live Science, some of that, they talk about that there are non-natural elements.
I've heard that actually, not just there.
I've heard that, yeah.
That's there.
Which implied the industrial manufacture, but there is the one thing about all the nickel, that's been pretty much proven. It's been on NASA and everywhere else in there. So, that leads to this whole thing of not really knowing what it is and the intrigue over that. I mean, do you have any feeling about, I don't know enough about this stuff to have an opinion what that means with nickel in there, but
I guess that's kind of like I guess nickel, from what I understand, and I don't know why, enough about metallurgy to know, but I guess is not usually found without iron, and this has no iron content, which is very unusual. And I think it seems like it might imply manufacturing. And I think also there was like a lot of CO2 coming from it for some weird reason. And then later water. And so there's some weird things. And then also it's the way it's come into the plane of the ecliptic, the way that it is sort of in alignment with all of the planets is also very unusual. It's the chances of that in itself are like 1 in 500 that it would do that on its own as a natural object. And when you stack up all of the strange anomalies, it gets more and more unlikely that it's probably completely natural. However, it's also massively huge. It's a massive object of now they don't really know how big it is, but there was, the last I heard was it was about 3 miles long.
I don't know how long. I don't know. I should have written that down in my notes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the last thing I heard was that, maybe it'll change when we see it better, when it comes past the sun again. But supposedly it was 3 miles long. And some people, and I guess there was light coming from it and energy coming from it that was, I don't know that that's still happening, but at some point that was reported, and that was something that was in scientific papers. That's weird. I mean, there's just a lot of things that are odd, Negative polarization of light. That's another thing. Thank you.
But what does that mean?
That means that basically instead of polarization is like there's in light there's a wave form, and then there's like the photon kind of like a beam kind of form, right?
Yeah.
So when it's polarized, it means it's kind of flipping back and forth between both of those things and sort of doing both.
I got that, but what does that imply?
That implies again that there's some kind of potential
artificial
thing about it. Yeah, because that doesn't happen in nature that we know of, really, so much. Maybe it does.
Okay.
We just don't know about it. Yeah.
So another theory that's floating, I'm sure you guys have heard this, is that there's some kind of cover-up or data suppression going on. Because
I think that's probably true.
There are some forums saying that NASA and other space agencies are withholding true data about its properties or origins. You know, and it doesn't help when the government was shut down and still is, and they're not putting out things as they would normally. I mean, I was at their site. There's like some stuff that supposedly is like real-time tracking or whatever, but
yeah, Europe though didn't shut down, and neither did Japan. I mean, the rest of the world wasn't shut down, and they really aren't reporting that much either. But it is behind the sun, to be fair, so you can't really see much. So I mean, that could just be part of that. But our shutdown happened before it went behind the sun, and that was what was kind of weird, is that there wasn't really a lot of data. Some people have speculated that are not so conspiratorial, that perhaps the data they got was kind of anomalous, and they're just trying to figure out what it could be, that they don't really know quite yet what all of it means, and so they're just being very careful not to like throw stuff out there that they don't understand completely yet, which I think makes sense. If you're a scientist, you're not going to just put out rando stuff, so that could explain why we didn't get a lot of data during a period where we should have actually. It was sort of prime viewing period before it went behind the sun. So that could be it. Or maybe they found something really weird and they don't want to tell people because it's so weird. They need to really kind of make sure that it's as weird as they think it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
well, speaking of being behind the sun, some theories out there are saying because it's behind the sun, some conspiracists say that it's intentional, allowing for a hidden maneuver.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I've heard that too. Yeah.
That's where I'd go.
Yeah. So that we couldn't see what it's doing. Yeah, that was kind of what Avi Loeb sort of suggested when he said that it was going to be closest to Mars right as it's going behind the sun. And if you were wanting to make sure to be able to do anything, if you were a technologically based civilization, knowing that you had these crazy monkeys looking at you, you would kind of do it behind the curtain of the sun and kind of throw your probes out while we can't see you do that. So it kind of came from him a little bit,
Yep. All right, then this isn't a conspiracy. Astronomers say that the comet may be billions of years old, leading some to imagine it carries primordial or even engineered material from before our very own sun was formed. I mean, that actually is fascinating to me.
That is. The only problem I have with that, though, the only thing I think that's kind of seems odd about that was where it came from. It came from the center of our galaxy, like
through the wow portal.
Yeah,
that's kind of interesting that it did that.
Yeah,
what's that?
It just sort
was
of
in our little beginning film. There was a in the 1970s in Ohio. They call it big ears. And SETI was really big back then, all this other stuff. And so they were listening for all these sounds. And this one lasted 70 seconds, which is highly, and it was like some kind of strange, like blast kind of thing that lasted for 70 seconds. SETI was desperately trying to find something. These guys found it. So they circled it on the data printout sheet and wrote, wow, because it was so weird.
I saw that.
And so,
I realized that.
and so 50 years go by and there are no other transmissions from this particular area until 3i Atlas is coming right from that same place.
Very close.
So, and so there's a lot of articles coming out about that where people are like, well, what is going on with this? Why it's coming from that particular area.
I have a theory.
What's your theory?
To me. So we all read the book, or we've read enough of the book, and I won't spoil the book for everybody. But how about this? How about if it is in some way connected to that moment when the holograms start in the sky. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's another conspiracy theory. I know what you're saying, but I want to say that I think the other thing that makes me think that it's unlikely to be something from really deep into far reaches of the universe is the fact that it comes through our galaxy without ever hitting anything. You know, all those stars, all that. I mean, it seems unlikely. We have an asteroid belt. You know, stuff hits
as a natural object. You mean?
As a natural object,
Yeah.
it seems unlikely that it would have gone through the entire galaxy with all of the floating stuff and everything. I mean, I know it's vast and there's maybe whole areas where there's really nothing, but it would have run across something eventually. You know what I'm saying? If it was from that far back. So I highly doubt that. It seems impractical to me. And your point, Helen, there are people who think that it's going to be used for something like some kind of false flag.
Oh, really? I thought I was so.
Yeah,
original.
no, that's another conspiracy theory. Yeah, I've heard that one a lot too. You know, I don't think so. I don't think it needs to be used for any kind of false flag. I mean, also, if it was going to be used for a false flag, I think it would already be happening because it's kind of,
True.
you know, I mean.
So are we doing a consensus here? Does everybody agree that it's natural, fake, spy planet or something?
I don't know.
I think it's natural.
I think it's organic.
However, I'm open to the possibility that some kind of probe device could have been put on there.
Yeah, right. I think it might be something like that. Yeah.
If I lived in another and wanted, to me, it just makes more sense to, because you could save so much like energy, propulsion.
Yeah, right.
Just stick it on a rock and see where it goes.
Right. And gather data. Yeah.
No, I don't know that is true.
And
I certainly, I wouldn't be upset if it's not true. Yeah. But I'm open to that.
I mean, it's most likely a natural thing, or the most, I would say, is like some kind of modified asteroid that somebody sent out with some propulsion or something on it to sort of, some doodads to see what's up in the universe,
Yeah.
I think that's the most likely two possibilities. Yeah.
Okay. So then this also comes from Loeb's papers and some of his blogs, that there's an encoded message or signal.
Right.
That
from
it could be
outgassing.
Transmitting.
Yeah, from the outgassing, I think, is what that's.
Right.
Isn't that
so?
where,
So I don't know.
Anything's possible. I mean, anything's possible. I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about that, except for the fact that Avi Loeb is going so far out on a limb, that in itself says something, because he is a Harvard professor. You know what I'm saying?
He's a theoretical physicist. So it's kind of like, to put your reputation out like that, to pop,
I personally think he's using this and Oumuamua as sort of, Oumuamua, that probably was some kind of technology. Now people think it probably was because of just so many things that it did, like it sped up and it was like flat and everything, and it was rotating and all these strange things. And the fact that came before this one, it does seem kind of strange that we keep getting all these interstellar objects kind of coming all of a sudden. We hadn't seen them before. Now they're coming through our solar system. But he's not saying for sure that it is like a technical, but even the fact that he's bringing this up, I think is kind of for the bigger point of, well, what if something like this does come through our, through our part of the universe? If we need to be prepared for that. So I think he's using this to sort of raise that argument and get scientists to stop trying to make everything fit into a certain box and think outside
with that.
But to open up the possibilities. Exactly. I'm with you. All right. So then another theory that's out there. This one actually comes from a Harvard discussion board.
Okay.
They say that with its path, it's missing Mars, Venus, Jupiter, shows that
going
it is
past
sort of deliberate to an extent, and it's
Yes.
carrying like some kind of seed.
Hmm.
So like maybe terraforming or something like that. But
Seed like the kind you're not supposed to spill on the ground. I mean,
yes, well, some kind of a biological thing. You know, that rather than just a probe, that's what it's like
Like
looking for
panspermia
areas.
kind of idea, but with some kind of technological.
Yeah.
you know what
Which
that
I
Possible.
thought
brings
was
to mind?
interesting. Huh?
Yeah.
Brings to mind the notion of spreading microbial things.
Yeah, right. That's
Right.
panspermia. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
I mean,
not just for the purposes of propagation, but for the purposes of elimination.
no, it's not coming near Earth. That's why it's not an issue. Those places all don't have life that we know of. Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. It's passing those planets. It's not going to get close enough to us to do anything like that. So that's why I think they're talking about that sort of panspermia. Maybe they found these are inhabitable zone. They feel like maybe, I mean, I don't know that I didn't read the discussion, but I'm thinking if I was somebody interested in, like if I was a scientist who had interested in that aspect of it, then you might consider like an ET race who would think, well, hey, there's stuff in the Goldilocks zone, and we know these don't have, from maybe Oumuamua, these don't have life. Let's try to see if we can spread life to these planets that don't have it. I mean, I don't know that that's true, but I mean, probably
Well,
not.
and it's like all of my life, though, in school and everywhere, they talked about the possibility of terraforming Mars. So,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, you know, I mean, but they're suggesting that this thing, so that's what we're talking about, Keith, by seeding it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Terraforming it or putting some kind of microbial life that could maybe develop over time. I mean, terraforming, we would never have we don't have the technology to even come close to terraforming Mars, like maybe in a
right.
1,000 years or something we could. So, but an alien race who maybe they do that. Maybe they go to different planets and try to seed, things, get things going like gardeners. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I mean, that's
why would they allow us, the monkeys of the galaxy? Why would they allow us to see it? And doesn't that seem somewhat reckless on their part?
No. The whole thing is they're not letting us see it. That's the part of this that's part
why
of
are we talking about it?
They're not letting. All of this stuff is happening in places where we can't see it. These are speculations because only we discovered it.
Right. It's rising. It's raising all these. It's getting people all screwed up, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they can't control that. I mean, they don't know how crazy we are. That's not their problem.
You know what I'm saying? Spew tons of liquid when it passed Mars. Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen that before. I'm gonna have to
I
look
haven't
this one
either.
up.
I'm not sure about that. And that's the thing. This is the kind of stuff that you see all over the internet, but you really have to kind of like double check that. I mean, it could be true, but we don't, Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. This is the problem with right now. Like everybody, like you see something on the internet and you're like, it looks legit for a second. And you're like, this seems a little weird. And then you look deeper and oh, it's an AI thing. And you're like, there's so much people making stuff like that. It's just, it's proliferating very quickly. And it's, I think, dangerous.
And it's like, I'm not a big Facebook user at all anymore.
No.
But it's like, gosh, there's just like so many, like in my feed of like supposedly NASA, and they say this until, and they don't really disclose who they are. But I just look at the writing, I'll just go to the direct source and go to NASA's website and look it up. But man, it just takes, it's so time consuming.
It is,
to have to go through and look at all of this stuff, and they're counting on people just like scrolling through because it's fast and believing it. I mean, just to type up these 2 pages, it took like 8 hours of just going through all these things. Wow. Yes, because there's so much of it. And
there's a lot. It's true.
And I was like, I don't know what's real or what's not. With all these things. So Keith wants to know, was Earth terraformed?
I think so.
Helen says yes.
read Paul Wallace's books, the Eden series. He's an archdeacon, an Anglican archdeacon, so he's all up on the scriptures, right? He's a linguist. He knows so many ancient languages. He's a bit of an amateur archaeologist, historian. And through a series of misfortunes, he ended up with a lot of free time on his hands and did this research into inconsistencies in language. The Old Testament says this in one part, uses a different word in another part, and the words are not translated correctly, and they don't agree with this other. But there is a Venn diagram of global scripture which meets in the middle. There's a core
Much Ancient Aliens. I mean, that's what it's all about. Ancient aliens.
You know.
Yeah.
But he's not the guy with the hair, Giorgio.
No, there's so many.
This is good. It says it was detected by NASA Neil. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Garrels
Observatory. All right, so I'm going to look that up.
Well, that's interesting.
Write it down right
now.
That
is very
because if that's true, that's really interesting.
Then that would also lend credence to the fact that it's probably not 100% organic. I mean, in natural. It's
natural,
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jorinda, for telling us this. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up. That's very interesting.
Let me tell you this little story it's out there. Jacques Vallée talks a lot about these kinds of things. Periodically in just even American history, but Western Civ history, there have been, I'll use the word outbreak. I can't think of another word, of sightings. And depending on the time period, they manifested in a particular way. So in the 1800s, they looked like sailing ships in the sky. And earlier than that, they were chariots in the sky, just depending on what time period.
Yeah, we covered that on a Saturday. Yeah.
Often they saw right before an outbreak of a disease, there would be a discharge of a gas or a discharge of a liquid. And then suddenly there'd be this outbreak.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
So Tiffany saw that too about the liquid discharge. Yeah. That is fascinating. Thank you guys so much for telling us that. Yeah, and if anyone wants to call, the number's 288. What is it? No, it's 928-288-2942. So
you never call yourself.
I know.
Here it is.
Folks, I finally have it working. So you found it?
I found the website for it. I'm just going to see if I can find anything about 3i Atlas on here. Yeah, as we're talking. Just search. Didn't come up.
So while you're looking for that, I've got, let's see, some other things. It's like this recurring theme kept coming up over and over again from different forums that it could be some kind of probe thing.
From where?
Nobody knows.
Well, we know the place it's coming directly from is the center of the galaxy. So maybe somewhere in our galaxy?
From headquarters.
From headquarters? I don't know.
I love it, Helen. So then another theory of this is more of New Age stuff. They view it as a sign of global consciousness change or a cosmic awakening. So that pops up all over the place.
Right.
Which it could be. I mean.
Well, I think it certainly kind of is awakening people to the idea that we're not alone.
Yeah.
Right?
So Crystal Blue Person asks Helen, are you saying this discharge of liquid happened other times, then we'd have disease breakout here on Earth?
Yeah. I don't know where I read it. I read it multiple places, multiple times, and it happened a number of times throughout recorded history.
And where was the liquid coming from? Did it say in that?
Well, that would be it. And in fact, people even were seeing something from the sky coming down and spreading it. Like
no, that's reminding me of do you remember in China? I think it was right around the COVID outbreak where there were there was a red rivers and everything turned red, all the water.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
What was that all
Wasn't
about?
that algae? That algae does that to a lot of areas.
But it was so strange because it kind of coincided
it was all over
with
the place.
COVID.
Red tide. Yeah.
Red tide, yeah. But it was I don't know. It was really weird. It looked like blood. Everywhere.
Well, even a story that wasn't reported all that much was I think it was in Colorado. There's all these old mines that have been abandoned, whether they were mining for gold or silver or coal or what have you, and they used a lot of toxins that are banned right now.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, there was some mine, a bunch of water got in there, and then it went into the river, and it turned like I think it was in Colorado. It went all the way down into New Mexico, and it turned all the water just toxic and just and it was like this weird reddish yellow color, and it took years to clean that up. When I was doing that wormwood that I brought up in the beginning was like sort of ancient times when they were writing the biblical stuff or whatever. But it occurred to me this morning, with wormwood, a third of the waters would be like unsafe and undrinkable.
Right.
Well, think about that. We've already done that.
That's true. That's true. We did it to ourselves.
We have. It's like every drop of groundwater on this planet has PFAS in it.
Yes.
That's forever chemicals. Look at all this junk that is coming out of these mines and big, great huge farms. Now they're saying, "Oh yeah, just dump all that shit, into the water." That part of wormwood actually is already true.
It's
the reefs that have been dying. All the plastics that we have in water, all these microplastics, and then even you buy water and I guess it has microplastics in that.
Well, it's in a huge percentage of amniotic fluid.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But that wormwood guy, I was cracking up, Deborah. He looked like he was coked out.
Yeah,
I didn't see that. I have to see that.
I see when I see like preachers going mad. It's like that's what they look like to me. So it's like, get away. All right, so let's see. Okay,
so does he
this
think
one
throughout Atlas is wormwood? Is that what he's trying to say? Throughout Atlas is wormwood?
No, it was just a history of how,
it was early,
in the beginning video. It was like all these different theories and things that were
Bible. Yeah.
Okay, so another theory out there, and it kind of bounces to what you were mentioning, Helen, that it could release devices, materials, fluids, or whatever as it nears the sun or specific planets designed to disintegrate or destroy. So that theory, of course, is out there too.
Right. I mean, it wouldn't be good if it destroyed Jupiter or Venus or Mars. If it was going to destroy anybody, though, wouldn't it want to destroy us? Check out the global map.
How to detect and report changes. Like what kind
oh yeah,
of
that's
changes?
right. I read about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
What kind of changes?
You have to you have to have a telescope, and you have to sign up for like a you have to like have a certain kind of level of telescope, and you have to get training on what to look for. But yeah, there's a bunch of people looking at that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff is good. It's
citizen, like people who are like,
I think
I had a bunch of telescopes, but I got rid of them.
He says on a map, but I know what you mean. It's a good way to track stuff, and what the people communicating, just like independent media, is the way to learn stuff these days. So
and actually, that lemon comet was found by an amateur astronomer, like just somebody who's a hobbyist. So I mean, a lot of stuff is discovered by people who are just paying attention and have a decent telescope. Yeah.
Okay, so then another theory out there is that it's evidence of dark tech or a hidden civilization. The theory basically is this: it's debris or tech that is from a long vanished civilization that probably destroyed itself or for whatever, and it's just like space debris floating from some other galaxy that may not be here anymore. Possible. I mean, you never know.
Anything's possible. Yeah.
Still capable, still functioning enough to self-direct around the object.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing. I mean, the only thing that seems unlikely about that again is if you're coming from the center of the galaxy. You know how many stars are in our galaxy?
A lot.
There's like 500 billion. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to read astronomy textbooks. But back then we thought there was 350. Yeah, I know.
Sorry, I'm not.
It was weird. I know. But anyway, it was 350 billion, we thought. Now I think they think it's closer to 500 billion stars in our galaxy, right? So imagine going through 250 billion solar systems. That seems, because we're way out in the edge of the galaxy.
But
we're
maybe
in
it
an
was
arm.
bigger. Maybe it was bigger when it started, and chunks have already been like hit and
Maybe
fragmented.
Maybe, but it's really big. It's 3 miles long. I mean, it seems like you would have to have some kind of, if it was totally natural, then it had to have come from closer, right? To be able to sustain a 3-mile radius. It wouldn't get pulled into some kind of, if there's massive solar, like there's massive suns that have massive double suns, that have incredible gravitational pull. There's a black hole at the center of our universe.
My brain is exploding right now.
Can you imagine
I get lost going up the street to my friend's house. So, I just can't even imagine any of this. It's just too much.
It just seems like there would, it's at some point, it would, if it's that old, then it would have run into something by now, and maybe like you said, but then why would it come in the plane of the elliptic like that and be so smooth and like have all these weird things that it's doing if it was just an old piece of tech? It seems unlikely. That seems unlikely too, like that just randomly flew off into space. It seems like maybe it's still operating some of the systems. I don't know, but it seems like at this point it would probably just be junk. You know what I mean?
Well, I certainly don't know anything, but I'm just giving the theories up there.
Right.
Every time you open your mouth, I'm more confused.
Me or her? I don't know.
All of you.
So this one kind of goes back to what Denise was talking about with the incident in Florida. The final one that I found that I had the patience to keep going through this stuff. It's kind of a sociological twist. They're saying if it were artificial, maybe it's just observing how humans would react to it. So it's basically a psychology experiment to see if it actually, and that comes from some of the SETI forums.
I mean,
so it's kind of okay, let's see how they react to this before we actually come.
No, I mean, that could be, that kind of makes sense. I mean, if they know us or they know of us because we've been visited by other things, then maybe they know we're also very primitive and boring and, wait, I don't, where it's very way out in the sky. Exactly. We are. We're at the end there.
Ever did.
We're out there. We're not in the center of it at all. But if you think about that, maybe they're wondering if we're ready to make that leap. And that would
they just should have asked me. I could have told them we're not ready. Are you kidding me?
I mean, but that would be a smart way. How are the humans going to deal with the possibility of something, of this change, or that they're not alone? Maybe plant the seed so that we can make more of an overture that's more obvious, like a much more out.
The aliens need to get a Netflix account and watch that new movie about
they have a Netflix account.
Nuclear war. What's it called? The House of Dynamite. I would strongly recommend it. Denise, remember the book we read, Nuclear War?
Yeah.
That blow by blow, pardon the pun, moment by moment description. This doesn't show blood and guts. It doesn't show anything being destroyed. It shows the pressure cooker from the moment there's a slight hint that something might be going wrong to the inevitable outcome. And you see how each group of people, the Pentagon, what do you call it, White House, cabinet, how they all react to it, the kind of responses that are required, and then the personal foibles that come into it. Really a good movie. And there's nothing gory in it at all.
So what is it called?
House of Dynamite.
Okay.
On Netflix.
Strongly recommend it.
I watch Netflix on the exercise bike in the morning, so I'll look it up and see.
I'll look it up too. Yeah.
That's when I watch TV, is on the exercise bike. It's like might as well do a couple things at once. This is question I think probably is for you, Denise.
Yeah.
How this type of thing affects astrology, or if it's changing our astrology on purpose. What are your
I think
thoughts?
that's a good question, actually, because it's sort of similar to what happened when Caltech started discovering all of these exoplanets, or these planets that were like what are called dwarf planets, in the outer Kuiper belt. And it kind of, they gave it very dark and creepy ass names. All of them are really scary. I don't know why, but they did. And it's sort of an interesting timing wise. They found almost, I think they found like, they thought Oumuamua was one of them, but it wasn't. They found quite a number of them. And I think it does affect kind of us, because if you think about it, something penetrating our solar system, our psyches, I think it's planting a seed. And I think it does also, this is why comets themselves are often considered in astrology from the ancients as being disruptive forces. They're things coming from somewhere else, disrupting normal life. And just, they're not considered, that's not good. Nobody likes change, especially when it's an outside intrusion. So it does change kind of, not necessarily everything else about astrology, but just it adds in this whole disruptive. I think it's some kind of a marker for a big shift is what I would say. It's really astrologically how you would read that. Just like all those finding all those dwarf planets, I think really presaged a period where we went from the 20th century into the 21st century, which, I mean, is a pretty, it's a very clear darkening, like from the end of the 20th century into the 21st. Eris was like I don't know why he chose to name it Eris, but Eris is a goddess of strife and like kind of like guerrilla warfare. And, that was discovered and right before we had the 9/11 stuff and, the war and all those things were kind of found and they're all dark.
Well, look at even this office too. That is for, the serpent of chaos kind of thing.
Right,
so,
right. They're all dark.
And what they've said about that, it's like, oh, there's no, because my question always has been with it is like, if it's going to come that close to the planet, I mean, we've got so much space junk and active satellites and all this kind of stuff out there. Isn't there a possibility that it could hit some of this? If it's going to be that close to
and
Earth,
it could change its trajectory.
And
land on
at all these science sites, and they say no, but it's like, well, how do you know? Because look at this 3-eye atlas is actually moving around, so we don't know exactly what's going to happen in 2029. We just don't know.
We don't
know. But what they admit to people, because people will freak out.
Yeah, I mean, what if they did know and they knew it was going to hit the Earth? What would we be able to do about it? You know what I mean?
Bad. I just can't cope. That's really scary.
Okay, so Tiffany says, because it keeps changing its trajectory, and I believe it will line up with other planets. Thought to ask because I've been trying to keep up with your astrology predictions.
Like position itself in an orbit? Is that?
She's talking about 3-eye atlas, I think, and it's not really changing its trajectory. The way it came in was it came on in the ecliptic, and it's been on a straight line, but it's just showing a lot of bizarre behavior and a lot of strange things. It's where they're looking to see if it changes after it comes out behind the sun. So that would be a real tell if it changes or if it's changed directions or if it's I have heard it's moved off of its projected trajectory, which is weird. And I don't know if for sure that's 100%. This is the thing. I don't know if it's 100% true or not.
I don't know who to believe. Yeah.
Yeah. But if it is true, then that's already a sign. But certainly when it comes past the sun and when we can see it on the other side, if it has changed trajectory, we'll know that something was up. And also if it speeds up or slows down, or it's going a different amount, it's going at a different speed. All of those things will imply that something happened that we didn't see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of so when does it come out from behind the sun?
I think in December, or
I know we're supposed to be able to see it in December, but like November 29th or something.
It might be the end of November. Yeah.
Somebody told me there were predictions. Now, I hope that I remember this correctly, that while it's back there behind the sun, there's going to be like an increase in plasma fields from the sun.
There have been solar flares. Now that is true.
Yeah.
There have been more solar flares since it's been behind the sun, and that is also odd.
Is it?
No. It's a bit odd. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but we don't know why that would be.
Get your affairs in order.
Yeah, I think it is coming. I think it might be coming soon. I can't remember. I think it was.
Yeah, I thought they said October. What is today? I was going to say October 29th. Well, that's today.
Yeah, so I think it. Yeah, no,
November 6th, something.
November 5th would be really appropriate. Guy Fawkes Day.
Right out. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I think originally I heard it was like the 29th, but I think it changed. I did get hit with a solar flare yesterday, and that's another thing I heard too. Is it's getting hit with solar flares, and most like a comet that's hit with a solar flare. It's a lot of force and energy, and it does, it usually kind of decreases or like has a bunch of outgassing, but this seems to be kind of unfazed by the solar flares. Like it doesn't seem to be bothered by it at all, which is also unusual.
Which is interesting, yeah.
Yeah.
So should we be worried? I mean, I have to decide what to worry about next.
I think, don't worry. Can't do anything
I don't
about
think
it.
It's anything to worry about.
That's kind of how I've been ignoring it. I'm impressed by how much you guys know. I've been completely ignoring it. I know it's there. I know it's weird. I hear things.
I think it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
more
interesting too. It's
absorbing
getting more
the energy. Oh,
that's what people theorize that it is.
Okay, so maybe that's how it's fueled or something, huh?
Well, that's another theory I've heard is that it could be just some kind of like technological. It could be a spaceship. Okay, so say it's a spaceship, and it's going towards the sun so that it can absorb, because it can absorb all the energy of that, and it could use that for its fuel for the next journey forward. So it may have nothing to do with us. Maybe it just wants to go and check out the solar system, grab some solar energy, and move on. That's another theory I've heard too. There's a lot of theories out there. Yeah.
Well, anything else on this? I brought a little Halloween fun video for you guys if you wanted.
Okay.
Since Denise is stressed, it'll kind of lighten it up from nothing so technical here.
Yeah, it's kind of.
All right. So this comes from a station in Utah that lets you have like Creative Commons, which is kind of cool. So it's just a little spook story for you.
Okay.
Well, that part took a while.
Now to a true Halloween story. As far as local haunts go, it may be the most haunted of them all.
News specialist Andrew Adams investigates the ghost story surrounding a Utah restaurant. Andrew?
Ashley, certainly food for thought when you take everyday electronics in, like a smartphone camera, a digital audio recorder, and you come up with things that you just can't explain. This Utah County hotspot lived up to its reputation. The old grill. Years of sizzle soaked up in every bite.
You are welcome. Enjoy.
Leslie's family tree has served down-home cooking for over 30 years.
Yeah, that's our calling card, is our scone.
And just like the food, these walls have absorbed the flavor of long days past.
Some of these pictures go back 8 generations.
Leslie Broadhead.
And I followed him right around the corner, and then he just disappeared.
Says some of those generations linger here today.
Doesn't she look like that
door
picture?
opened up and I heard,
yes.
Workers have encountered apparitions.
She scowls and she growls, but I've never heard a word come out of her.
And the unexplained permeates every room.
I've had this whole table move like that far before during a ghost hunt. Just boom, the whole thing shook.
And all the mediums that's come here has told us that we have several portals. It's a long step down.
Broadhead says the cobwebbed basement is believed to sit on Native American burial ground, and that the mediums believe the portals converge here.
Every one of them I've talked to has all said that at any given time, We have had at least over 100 spirits here.
Sounds like no better place for a KSL investigation.
Danny's got the ovulus. Let's walk down the basement and we'll get the lights turned out.
Marcus and the ghost hopping crew.
Okay, let me get down here and I'll illuminate the stairs for everybody.
Have searched for evidence of spirits across America.
I don't know if there's anyone down here with us,
And a haunted basement with multiple portals.
You guys don't gotta be shy.
Seemed right down their alley.
Can you knock on the wall or make a sound down here?
We didn't get a knock, but minutes later.
Whoa, is that them?
We did hear footsteps upstairs. We couldn't explain. And then later.
What is it doing?
Several of our electronic devices started to go haywire.
I'm not even scanning.
Our white noise generator stopped working. This camera developed a strange line in it, and a heat mapping camera.
Flare once again won't work.
Shut itself down close to a dozen times when I'd pointed in the direction of the other investigator. It was all part of a 25-minute sequence that also included orbs caught on camera, disturbing responses from the word-generating ovulus.
What did it say? Demon. Demon.
And unexplained agitation in two of the investigators.
Why do we feel anxious? Is that how you feel?
Marcus was bothered so badly, he had to step away.
Come on!
Whether the spirits are bad,
I'd be able to see your handprint.
Good, or simply a remnant of what was, depends on the skeptic or the believer.
I think a lot of the spirits here are protecting the place.
Broadhead has reluctantly accepted the ghosts at Leslie's family tree as part of the family.
My dad used to tell me, you make your own heaven on earth or your own hell on earth. So maybe they're in heaven and it's just
there's a nice big
here.
orb.
I don't know.
You coming, guys?
Another note about the electronic devices, all were full on batteries, all were working just fine when we got started. So hard to explain how so many had troubles. And you saw how Marcus reacted. He said that whatever it was down there played with his emotions, didn't really like it. Again, chalk it up to the unexplained. Back to you guys.
Now, Andrew, last year you said your story really freaked you out. What about this year with this place?
Well, certainly, some of these things take time. Really, for about an hour and a half, we didn't find a whole lot. But then the confluence of all those events in a very tight time period, certainly something to question, was unlike anything I'd seen so far.
Andrew, what's that behind you?
All right.
I'm just kidding. All right, thank you so much for that part.
Daddy lady.
Good for her.
I just thought that was cute. I love that. I love Salt Lake. Have any of you guys been to Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
Okay, you've been there. You didn't like it, I take it. I had a good time there. It was beautiful.
I wasn't there for long. I just I didn't go. I was in the airport, and I was also at Park City, which is near Salt Lake City. So I didn't really go into the city too much or anything like that. So
we sneaked into the tabernacle one night when no one was supposed to be allowed in, and we watched the choir rehearsing.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were rehearsing for a Christmas album.
Oh, wow.
So it was cool because the music was nice. But I was there with my mother-in-law, so I...
Oh. So Elaine and I went, and I knew this guy that had a gourmet restaurant there. It was like, and it was paid for because I did his website. It was like a $300 a meal kind of thing, and they come out with all. And so that was really fun. And then I asked him, well, where do we go? And so we went to the tabernacle when they were singing, and it turned out that they were recording for NPR at that time. So they had like the whole orchestra, the bell ringers, the entire. It was incredible. I mean, we had tears, and it was really amazing. But the sense of humor, anyway, I just thought the 3-eye atlas would lighten it up a little bit with a ghost story.
Halloween.
So let's see. So not this Saturday, but on the 15th, we're going to go down to Rita.
Oh yeah, right. You're going to do that?
Into that area now. Yeah. The thing that was open that night is the train depot. So I don't know what kind of, but all those like equipment and all that stuff that they were showing there. I guess Rita gives you that stuff so you could do it. So I'll try to film some of this and see if we get anything for y'all to share.
That'd be cool.
But it should be really fun.
It should be,
well, any closing remarks from you guys? That was interesting.
I've discovered that we live in rural universe.
Rural galaxy. Yeah,
we're the hillbillies.
We're the arm.
The hillbillies.
We're the hillbillies of the universe or the galaxy.
If you don't mind me pushing my channel, Deborah, because it's Halloween.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So I tried to come up with scary stuff for the week. Well, adjacent. And today I put up a short explanatory kind of a biography of Vincent Price. Remember Vincent Price?
Cool.
Yeah. He is much more than what you think. Interesting human being. And then Deborah Lupien and I did a little session, had a conversation with him. It was really fun. Tomorrow,
now she's a medium, right? For people who don't know who she is,
yeah,
she's
she
a medium.
reads the Akashic records. Tomorrow we're doing Joan Crawford because she's scary. And then Friday, which I don't usually work on Fridays. I work, so I don't record on Fridays. But I pre-recorded it, and I did a big, long synopsis of the documentary, My Amityville Horror, and then Deborah and I solved it.
Oh, okay.
Well, what
And
do you
it's
think about places?
scary. It's scary and really interesting. And I actually today tried to contact the investigative journalist who's featured in the documentary. Fingers crossed she'll respond. She might be too much of a real journalist to want to cope with me, but fabulous investigator, really a great interviewer. The work she did on that documentary.
Are you talking the documentary? Yeah.
Yeah, incredible.
Yes.
Really.
I've been in touch with some people to start getting guests on the show and stuff too, and on this show. Yeah. So I've been talking to a few people that I'm meeting through the Medium. I'm more of a Medium person than Substack, and so we'll have some good guests coming up. So
that's good.
But we're kind of building right now, and we'll take it from there. But this was fun. Okay, I don't know the answer. What do you pick up where they say there's portals in a building like that? Is that true? Or, I mean, how does that work if they had like 100 spirits in this restaurant?
That's a good question. I mean, people use that word kind of loosely, I think.
Yeah.
I think it just means that there's probably a lot of people coming through that area. And if there is a really truly an Indian burial ground there, then that may be why there's just a lot of spirit activity.
Yeah.
And I think when people use that word portal, they really mean that there's just a lot of activity coming through that space. Yeah.
And I hate to be a naysayer, but my gut reaction as soon as I saw that performative anxiety attack.
Yeah.
Getting paid for that, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of, it's just so, well, just like these people ghost hunting and they say, I've been possessed or whatever. To me, it's just so stupid. It's just like, but I like the little restaurant owners, and they seem more genuine.
Yeah.
Well, also, the thing is, all that stuff with the equipment is legit. That is something that happens a lot in haunted places. So that was legit, I thought. Yeah. Can't fake that.
Somebody taking advantage and making more
out of it, making more dramatic.
Yeah. He's been possessed by the spirit of filthy lucre.
He's got a lot of tattoos.
I do have to say though, when I lived in Hell House, I called it Hell House. This place that was so haunted and awful. People did, and I noticed it with myself too. Would get very nasty and.
Yeah,
we weren't nice people and just arguing and all the time. People could come in and an hour later we're at each other's throats.
Yeah.
And so, I could see that, but his did. I agree with you, Helen.
Yeah, it was
performative.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I lived in a haunted trailer and it had a very nasty ghost and very noisy, nasty, jerky dude who was in that. And actually we bought it for really cheap because the people had only owned it for a couple months and they wanted to flee. And, why are you in this so cheap? Oh, this is before they had to disclose things like that. But, so it was definitely really super crazy haunted. And it did make everyone really agitated. It was a really negative dude.
Yeah. I lived in a haunted house once and it manifested in personality disturbances. And when we moved in, our lives as a family were pretty good. And by the time we left, it was a complete and utter disaster. And the people who moved in after us had 2 little children. And not too long after they moved in, they got in a car wreck on the highway and both children were killed.
Oh, that's
and
awful.
then the people that moved in after them, happily married, ended up divorced, and it just was one thing after another. And the whole time we lived there, we lived there about 5 years, and I was a child, started out about 9 years old. Then I was in high school when we left. I complained constantly about a smell. Nobody else could smell it. It was I'm getting chills. It used to drive me crazy. I'd say, what is that? Is it the old paint? Is there something? Is there a mouth? It was hard to describe. It wasn't decomposition, but it wasn't not. It was musty, old, like dirt. Only strong. I can't even describe it. But I
can smell it as you say it. It's like and it's like I've smelt that smell before. So I know,
don't know what
like in an old basement or somewhere. I kind of know what you're talking about.
And you know that we painted the inside of the house. We painted my room, and I thought, okay, this will be good because then it won't smell. It didn't change it a bit.
Yeah,
really weird. And nobody else could smell it. And I don't think I was crazy then. You know.
Yeah, clear olfactory or whatever that is. Yeah. Things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah.
So, Bove, are you doing Halloween this year?
I have a Halloween blouse that I dug out, and it's hanging to loosen the wrinkles. And Denise shows up in her beautiful little witchy hat, and I'm sitting here thinking, do I run back to the bathroom and put my Halloween shirt on? I think I'll wear it Saturday.
You have ears. You have ears on.
Yeah, you do. You already kind of have that going on, so you're good. Yeah.
Saturday.
I just have me. That's scary enough. Oh my gosh. Well, this was fun tonight. I want to thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Really fun.
Is there anything you want to talk about next Wednesday, or should we hodgepodge it?
Hodgepodge.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll do little different videos and weirdness. Huh?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Something may occur. We may need to discuss the occupants of 3i Alice. They may
You never know.
You never know. They said it's speeding up. And I want to thank the people that posted in the chat for really good observations and things. I'm going to look some of that up, so it's a good opportunity to learn. Thank you. Just thank you for watching and being here. We appreciate it. One of these days, somebody will call. I mean, we got that one call and the phone screwed up. I mean, I've got it all working now, so y'all can call. So that works too.
Deborah, what happened to your assistant?
Old timey.
I'm not going to talk about it, but no, he's not working.
Okay, all right, let's not.
He got in trouble from the big mean Deborah. So.
Oh no.
All
right.
It's like if you get paid, you need to show up for work. Is kind of how it is.
Oh.
So
yeah. He's a kid. He's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
probably.
I probably actually buzzes in my ear first, and then I know. But I've got this whole setup, and Bove and I have tested. It works really well.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. Well, now that it works.
It's taken me 8 months to fix it. You should.
You should try.
Hey, Bove, can you call to show everybody that it works? Do you have your
What's
phone?
the number? What's the number?
It's 928-288-2942.
2942.
Is Denise dialing?
I am.
Is that what's happening? Okay. I'll let Denise go.
It's ringing.
It's a miracle.
Right. Now it needs to go on here. It takes like a leg before it goes here.
Okay.
Well.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Is it the 928-288-2942?
Oh, no. Maybe it's wrong. Okay, what is it again?
Okay, so it's 928. It runs through Google Voice and then comes through through the mixer I've got here. 288
288
2942.
2942. I think I reversed one of the numbers. Okay.
Okay. See, okay. Now
Is it
it'll
working?
come through here. Yeah, I hear it in mine.
All right, I can hear it.
Okay,
Hello?
you can hear it. You
I
gonna
can.
get it? Yeah, I've got it.
Oh boy, it's feeding back. But, right.
Yeah, you have to mute your like.
Okay, I'll mute this. Okay. Oh, I can't mute it. Okay, here.
There we go.
But yeah, it
Okay,
works
I
now.
muted it, though. Yeah. Can you hear it?
Yep.
Okay, it's working. Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
So I figured it out. I told you all I'd be able to do it. Just was a
Good
long
job.
process. But thank you, Denise, for demonstrating that.
Good job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe do a phone now.
All right.
So when this is over every week, Deborah runs around turning on all the lights, making sure the doors are locked.
I do. Oh, okay. Look, I've got my Aikido sword there. I just bop whatever on the head and then we're set to go. So, well, you guys, thank you. This was fun. See you Wednesday.
Thank you.
Saturday, we're hitting Kansas for the Paranormal Highway. So I got to do some research there. All right. Thank you both.
Bye, girls.
Thank you guys. Love you guys.
All right.
Have a great one. Have a great week.
Yes.
Bye.
Thank you,
Okay.
audience, so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for watching. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.